Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, the twist in that new Mario Kart game? Lime. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. Do you want to hear something kind of crazy, Patrick?
I would love to hear something kind of crazy.
In 2017, today, January 12th when we're recording this, and technically January 13th when people are listening to this, let me explain.
Yeah, I can't wait to... I want to know where this is going, Mark.
Let me explain.
I am on pins and needles.
In 2017, on this day, we had that Switch reveal. The big Switch presentation where they, revealed the Switch on stage live with all, the weird live translation with Suda51.
Yeah.
And the guy from EA, coming on stage where there was the couch... where they were laying on it to show you how easy it was to play with the Joy-Con separately.
So relaxed.
HD Rumble. It was all
We were
here,
seeing how
baby.
many ice cubes were in the glass.
Yep. Kind of hard to believe.
That is hard to believe.
Been 5 years.
2017. It both feels like a very long time ago and as though no time has passed at all since
Completely agree.
Wow. Mark, you've blown my mind a little bit. I kind of don't know what to do with that information.
I know. It's hard to fathom.
Yeah, very hard to fathom. Speaking of things that are hard to fathom, my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch. Would you like to borrow it eventually? Someday I'll be going back to the post office and therefore we'll be mailing it to you then. But if you want to get on the list, in the meantime, you need to email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society
@gmail.com,
and give us a mailing address, a place where I can send you my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch. There might be a copy of Untitled Goose Game in there. That's just the kind of thing a mischievous Untitled Goose Game would do. And so either way, you play it for as long as you want. You send it back. It doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't cost you anything.
Another thing you can do is you can leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Again, such a sincere thank you to everybody who has rated us anywhere. We really appreciate it. If you leave us a rating on the US Apple Podcast Store, we can see that you did that, and we can see your username, and we will give you a shout out on the show. If you leave us a review on Spotify or anywhere else, let us know. We would love to give you a shout out. Send us an email.
We got an email from Aaron saying, "Happy New Year's, guys. Since I don't own an iPhone, I was happy to give the podcast 5 stars on Spotify. Keep up the great work." And then there's a question that I'd like to address on our Tuesday show, and then another comment. Aaron says, regarding Golf Story game trial only in Japan, I'm not sure how many listeners are aware of this, are aware that you can take advantage of the game trials by creating a Switch user and setting the user's location to Japan to access the Japanese eShop. Then if you have an extra spot in the family plan for NSO, that user can play that game trial. My main American eShop linked user could not access it or even play the trial. I've never played Golf Story before, so it was great to try it. And now I'm even more excited for Sports Story whenever that may come out.
Amazing. I have not done this because I know that you can also take advantage of the Nintendo Switch Online libraries.
Right.
If you're a subscriber to Nintendo Switch Online, because Japan gets different releases sometimes in their SNES Switch Online, or I guess for them it's a Super Famicom, or their Famicom library.
Well, and also just the different versions. Like if you play the Legend of Zelda as it is on the NES Nintendo Switch Online, it'll be the disc drive version that has the weird sounds on it. The sound chip is a little different.
You mean in Japan you'd be playing the Famicom version?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Got it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So no, I don't know why I've never done this, but Aaron brings up another great reason to do so. And I think that there are guides online to kind of guide you through if you don't read Japanese.
Well, and guides to also just walk you through how exactly to execute on the plan of switching your location to Japan and all of that. Because it is something that I am aware of and I have wanted to do a couple times. but it feels, I don't like lying. You know what I mean?
Do you know what?
You love lying.
I feel, oh yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm dead to rights.
Yeah.
But thank you, Aaron, for writing in, and thank you for leaving us a review on Spotify. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we do. Also, March, the month that's coming up in a little bit, is Kirby month.
Which I want to make very clear.
Yes.
I know the trailer came out today as of this recording for the new Kirby game and revealing that it was March 25th, but we intended to do Kirby month before it was revealed that it was coming out in March.
That's right. So whether we are, I mean, what is that better that we were planning it blindly? What if Kirby was going to come out in February? We don't know.
I just don't want people to think that
Sure.
Kirby's bossing us around.
Kirby is not bossing us around.
Yeah.
We're not afraid of Kirby.
Kirby's not dictating the schedule for this show.
Right. What is Kirby? Greg Smith? So we are going to spend all of March playing Kirby games and talking about them on our topic episodes. Now, here's something that you probably know about Mark and I is that we are not big Kirby guys. We've had some important experiences with Kirby games individually and not together, I would say. But we don't know what Kirby games we're going to play through the course of the month, but we want to have a list so that you can play along with us. So please, if you have a Kirby game that you want us to talk about, that you think would be fun for us to play, or just for you to hear about us talking about it, email us Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com or tweet at us or any other way that you can contact us.
Yeah, I would also just love to hear what people's favorite Kirby games are. There's so many of them.
There's so many of them. And I'm looking forward to, because Kirby games also have like a reputation for being like kind of easy. I'm looking forward to like a nice chill month of gaming.
And I think Kirby spin-offs are fair game.
Yeah. Spin-offs, spin balls. What? I'm thinking of Sonic Spin Ball.
Oh, I thought we were just riffing on things
sure.
that could come after spin.
Spin up, spin out, spin off. Spin on. There we go. Spin on was the way to go. All right, Mark, we've got a good topic. We're going to be discussing what the new twist in the new Mario Kart game is going to be. So I feel like most Mario Kart games, most new entries in the Mario Kart franchise have touted some kind of new twist, right?
Yeah.
Usually that twist is a pretty small thing, right? And you and I are going to make some predictions / sort of like pie in the sky sort of ideas about what we think the twist is going to be for Mario Kart 9. But I think it is safe to say, at least from my selections, we haven't shared these with each other yet.
That's right.
That mine are a little bit more, quite a bit more like foundational changes, right? Like a twist for a Mario Kart game, like for Mario Kart DS is like or Mario 7 for the 3DS is like there are hang gliders now.
Yeah. I wonder, actually, should we try to, I have not prepared this, but should we try
let's
to
do
like
it.
run down what the quote unquote twist, before we do any of this, should we
Yes.
explain why we're talking about this?
Yes. Yeah. Great point. Let's start there. So there was a rumor that came out of a predictions piece on gamesindustry.biz. That thank you for coming to my rescue, Mark. I had it in my memory. That the analyst said that Nintendo was currently working in active development on Mario Kart 9, and that there was a new twist for the game. So whether or not that is just like part of the confident language of making a prediction or something he knows for sure, we'll never know. We'll never know.
We really won't. And so, yeah, let's try to run down what we think we would define as twist from previous Mario Kart games.
Right. Do you have a list of the entries in the Mario Kart franchise?
No, but I think
Let's
we
just
can
do it
do
off
it.
top of our head.
So,
Okay.
Super Mario Kart, the twist, it exists.
Right. What a twist.
Nintendo 64, I guess the move to 3D probably.
I think the move to 3D has got to count. Yeah, because originally it's using Mode 7 graphics to fake 3D. And even on the Nintendo 64, it is in 3D, but like the characters are still like just sprites.
It's a very fun cheat.
Yeah, it's a very fun cheat.
So
is Game Boy Advance next?
It's either Game Boy Advance or Double Dash. I'm going to say Double Dash first.
Well, so I don't think there is one for the GBA.
I actually am going to disagree. I think it's
Oh.
the first. What is that one called? Grand Prix, I think. But
Yeah.
I think it's the first entry that had retro tracks, and so I'm going to count that as like the
very
twist
good.
for the Game Boy Advance game. And then Mario Kart Double Dash from the GameCube. The fact that you have two characters
racers,
on,
yep.
two racers on a cart.
Which is one of the more like substantive things in that it changes like the moment to moment gameplay, right? Where like you can have co-op for the first time ever. You've got two different items. There are specific items for specific characters. There's just a lot new that Double Dash introduces.
And then I'm going to just go ahead and say that the Nintendo DS entry is next. And that one, I would say online.
Yeah.
The first entry to have like robust online through Nintendo Wi-Fi Connect.
Right. And that's both like local wireless play and like actually playing on the internet, which I remember at the time feeling like revolutionary.
Especially like Wi-Fi.
With a handheld. Yeah. Just absolutely
very
wild.
cool. DS is a great entry.
Yeah. Great entry. And then after that is Wii, which got to just be motion controls.
Yeah, motion controls. They also introduced bikes.
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
With like the little, like when you flick the Wiimote, you get a little extra, like you do a wheelie and you get a little boost.
Right. Well, and also that you would, when going off of jumps, either in a cart or in a bike, that you would shake the remote and they do like a little trick and get a tiny boost, which is something that is carried over into the future games too, where you don't have to shake anything. You just have to like push the jump button or whatever. And then Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS. First of all, the twist here, we're back to numbers for the first time
That's
ever.
right. Yeah, back for the first time ever.
Back for the first time ever. But yeah, it's the like hang glider sort of mechanic. And I think maybe, is this the first time that we did one-way tracks, or were there one-way tracks in previous?
I don't actually remember. That's a good, that may be.
That's a good little bit of trivia that we don't know.
Yeah. I also, I know it is, I guess maybe just foundational because it's a 3DS, but I would say 3D. The fact that it is in like stereoscopic 3D.
Yeah. And then Mario Kart 8. I guess the innovation or the twist there is the 0G portions.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact that you had, because that is like totally different, right? Where there are the parts of the game where you're going up on like walls and ceilings, but also that you are then incentivized to like run into other people, that like you get a little boost off of their like weird flipped gravity wheels.
Yep.
So those I think represent the twists.
Yeah. I feel good about that.
I feel good about that too. I have come up with a list of 5 potential twists, and one alternate in case one of mine is taken or I want to talk about it anyway. But before we get into any predictions or hopes or anything, let me just say, this isn't a twist, but whatever the new Mario Kart game is, I want the ability to dial in the balance in the sound. I want to turn down sound effects and voices so I can hear the music. Mario Kart, especially Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but recent Mario Kart games have had incredible music, amazing arrangements of Mario themes, Zelda themes, F-Zero themes, and it just gets buried under an infinite pablum of boosting noises and people yelling woohoo. It's and that's all fun and I like it, but I would love the ability to turn that all down and just hear the music.
I would love that so much. For whatever reason, I actually expected in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that I'd be able to go into options and like mess with that balance.
You can't.
I love the music for the Excitebike track.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good, but it's impossible to hear with everything going on.
Yeah. And then failing that, but also just in addition to that, a music player in the game, just the same way that Smash Brothers does it. I don't know why it's not already.
We have
part
made
of these
this
games.
plea before, but give purpose to the Nintendo Switch Online phone app.
Yes.
And make that an MP3 player.
Oh my gosh.
For game soundtracks.
If it would just play if it was just the same music player that you had access to in the games, and like if you didn't have Smash Brothers, you didn't have access to the Smash Brothers things.
Yep.
And even like as you collect the individual tracks and get them in your music
Fine.
player, perfect. I don't care. If I can stream these from my phone, it would be so good.
It'd be amazing.
And I know I can just go to YouTube and whatever, but if it's all in one place, that would be so good. This is a wider twist that we want for the future. But Mark, I mean, first of all, do you think that we're going to see a new Mario Kart game this year, next year? Do you have any thoughts about like what the timing on any of that would be?
I the way that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe continues to sell incredibly well, just like millions of copies a year. I My thinking is that we won't see it until whatever the next Switch is.
Yeah,
I don't really know what benefit
2025.
right. I just don't know what benefit there is to like introducing a new one at this point.
Can I tell you what I think the benefit is, and is part of what emboldened me to go a little crazy with my twists, is that if you know already that you have a very successful and very like normal Mario Kart game, right? Like Mario Kart 8 is not that weird. You can take bigger chances with whatever the next one is going to be, knowing that 8 will continue to sell like nobody's business.
That's a really good point. Do you know what's also interesting is that we like with something like Mario Kart, we hold it in such like a unique space where we're like, well, we're only getting one of those. We got like two Mario Party games within 2 years of each other.
Yeah.
And within months of them doing an update to the first one that gave it like multiplayer. And we didn't bat an eye. We weren't like,
Yeah.
whoa, only one Mario Party per generation, please.
Yeah, but Mario Party there were 3 of them on the Nintendo 64, and that's where they came from, right?
Right.
So, like, Mario Party's a little bit of a different beast. But yeah, for sure. Like, look, we know this. There is nothing sacred in rules we think we observe around Nintendo releases and hardware generations and all that stuff. The fact that there is no like handheld running concurrently with this one, the fact that Mario Kart 8 pre-deluxe came out on the last generation of hardware, makes me think that we could see a new Mario Kart game like literally anytime. It could come out this year. It could they could hold it for another
That'd be
3.
exciting.
Yeah, it'd be super fun to see one. Mark, would you like to go first with your prediction of a Mario Kart twist, or should I go first?
I'll go first. And this one I count, I guess it's almost more of a feature, but it is something that we've never seen in a Mario Kart game before. And I think that it would be fun to see a track builder.
Yeah, Mark, this is actually my first prediction as well, sort of. Except I'm making it a little bit more explicit, and I'm just calling the game Mario Kart Maker.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have Mario Maker, an existing property. They already have all the creation tools. Obviously, they would have to be, modified to make tracks and stuff. But yeah, user-generated content. Why not?
Yeah, and I feel like there's like a certain amount of precedent to it, not only in Smash Brothers Stage Builder, but also like the original Excite Bike had a rudimentary track creation tool. I also feel like why not steal from the best? And it's been a long time since Mod Nation Racers came out, but a big selling point of that game, and one of the things it was celebrated for was its track creation.
Yeah, and that game was all about, it was in that brief window when like Sony's whole thing was, or when PlayStation's whole thing was play, create, share. And so it had a very good like suite for creation of karts, racers, and tracks.
Yeah, that's right. It was really in that like Little Big Planet time.
Totally Little Big Planet. Yeah, I mean to the point where when they made like a spiritual sequel to Mod Nation Racers, it was Little Big Planet Karting, which was a much worse game. Like the creation tools were no less good, but like the actual mechanics of the game weren't as like fun and sticky and good. But yeah, I think like the thing that excites me so much about a Mario Kart Maker style game is that, even in like Super Mario Maker 2, if you didn't want to play any of the user generated content, you just wanted to play the levels that Nintendo made for you, that was enough, right? That was like playing a new Mario game. And if they did that again with like a Mario Kart Maker, they wouldn't have to do any classic tracks, because guess what? The community is going to make every single classic track.
Yeah. And I also think that the track types have become robust enough that, like with Mario Kart 8, that they introduced those 0G areas. It's like, oh yeah, like you have underwater, you have the moments where your carts can, like, they get the hang glider type effect. Like there's so much to Mario Kart now, like, that there's a lot to play with, and I think it could be really cool, like you're saying, to see what the community could come up with. And I think that the without actually having like dug into it, and maybe this is wrong, but it feels like the chance for success is best in Mario Kart versus like a stage in Smash Brothers, which is really
Yeah.
like difficult to execute well, and there's just aren't that many. At the end of the day, it's a platform with other platforms on it.
Right.
Or Mario Maker levels, which it just takes a certain amount of skill and time to create a good Mario level. Like that's a challenging ask.
Yeah. I mean, like even a not great kart racer track is still something that you're like buzzing around with, 7 to 11 other racers whipping shells around. Like it's still got that like element of fun to it, even if it's not like a masterpiece. And the same can't really be said of a Mario Maker level that is not very good.
Yeah, and like with Mario Maker, there are the levels that are like extremely difficult.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could make hard tracks, but what does that look like exactly? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. What does that mean? And also, like, what's the point of? Because like, if you make a difficult, like a very difficult track, any of the computer controlled players are just gonna fall off the side of it immediately. So like, yeah, and it also feels like there's going to be less of an opportunity for people to make those like auto scroll levels that are just like an interesting bit of spectacle, but like not fun gameplay wise. Like I feel like a lot of the traps that Mario Maker sets for itself wouldn't be present in Mario Kart Maker.
I think I love that this was both our first ones. I think it would be very fun to see.
Potential problems: discoverability, always a nightmare.
Yep.
And I don't really know, like, did Nintendo ever get like the website off the ground for Mario Maker 2 where like you could bookmark levels? They gotta sort all that stuff out so that it is easier to like tweet them or share them however you share stuff, even sharing like in-game, and to just like grab them off the internet. Like it shouldn't take long for you to do. You shouldn't have to enter a 12-digit code or whatever to play someone else's track.
Yeah, and also you would want to be able to play it with like 12 other people, and with whether it's like 12 friends or 12 computer characters, like you would want. And the multiplayer in Mario Maker 2 was always kind of a challenge to
totally
like work seamlessly, but I think it could be super fun.
I mean, even if there was just like a like weekly surfacing of like 4 or 8 tracks that they like put into cups or whatever, and I know obviously that's manpower and all this kind. I'm asking for a lot, but like just some amount of what is the word where
curation. That's such a good idea. I mean, that would be super fun if like Nintendo had a team that was finding the best of the best and putting it into cups, and like you were saying, every week or something there was a new cup of user generated tracks. I don't know. I think I would be very interested. And these are just our ideas. People at Nintendo, they're thinking like so much bigger than our feeble brains are able to imagine. So I think it would be very cool.
Let me ask you this. So we're talking about a course editor. Are we also editing carts and characters? I think no.
I would be fine if it was not carts. If it was the standard carts. If it was
just tracks.
If it was just purely tracks, I would be fine with that.
What about like if there was a way to edit like items? That almost feels like too much.
I do wonder though if you would be able to like almost like Smash Brothers level of customization where you say no items, or you say these specific items, or something like that. But even then, I'm almost like, no, as a first go around, like I don't know that I want that level of control, because I'm just imagining like a level that's all blue shells. It's just all blue shells, and you're like, is that fun? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
But also, who am I to police what is fun or not?
Leave that to Nintendo's curation team.
That's right.
All right. Well, so then I'll go next. Mario Kart Maker is now off the table, and it was truly the first thing on my list. So I like that we are thinking alike here. All right. Next twist is a Mario Kart racing management sim. So in this one, you don't even do the racing at all. You manage a team of 4 Mario Kart racers. You have to determine who that team of 4 is. You have a certain amount of like coins or whatever currency to like buy their carts and like upgrade them or whatever. You deploy items for them. Just really, really taking the idea of Mario Kart and abstracting it to a point where you are just managing other kart racers.
I love it. You're like the team principal of an F1 racing team, but you're doing it for a Mario Kart team.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that is such a funny idea.
And obviously it would be disappointing because it wouldn't have any of like the fun minute to minute like gameplay of Mario Kart. But look, again, that just already exists in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Why not go for a big swing and really do something different with this one?
I'm kind of imagining, like the 2K games or 2K basketball games, they have like career modes where you're starting out as a rookie and you're meeting the State Farm guy who's giving you State Farm clothes. I think that was, something that happened in the latest game. But I'm just imagining like that sort of like from the streets to the top thing, but as for like Mario Kart Manager.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like, how cool would it be? Like would be like almost adventure game parts where you like go to a party and you're like trying to schmooze up, the dry bones so he can join your kart racing team.
Exactly. Yes. Spike Jonze, written and directed.
Wow.
Career mode.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Spike Lee. That's who I meant.
Why not either?
You're right. Either one.
Either way, it can be weird, right? Yeah, that's all I got for that one.
So my second one is the twist being that instead of opening it up to more of Nintendo's world, it becomes more Mario specific. Because one thing that is interesting to me is that there are no tracks that are set in Mario games. Right? There's like Isle Delfino stuff, but there's nothing that is like, okay, you're going to be on an airship from Super Mario Brothers 3. You are on Dinosaur Island.
There is like a little airship in the one that's like in the clouds in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
That's right. That's true.
And like there are many Bowser's castles.
But not the Bowser Castle from any of the games.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, yes, there are like familiar areas.
You want
but
to
do
like
nothing
the
that
actual
like specifically
setting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now that
like,
is interesting.
It's specifically set within Mario history.
Sure. So and we could even get more specific with this where like all of the tracks take place in like the Mario 64 levels, right? So like the first one is Bob-omb Battlefield, and it's actually in Bob-omb Battlefield. You race to the top of the mountain.
Right.
Take a cannon over to that little floating island.
Yeah, there's like, it's a Mario Kart is in some ways a celebration of Mario, but it is not explicitly Mario centric.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to just address something that you alluded to at the beginning of this twist, like the idea of like welcoming in other, the sort of smashification of Mario Kart, and adding all these other Nintendo properties to it. We already see that a little bit in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We've got Inklings, we've got Animal Crossing characters,
we've got Zelda.
Yeah, Link is in there. I'm with you in that, like, I think that's fun and I think that's novel there, but none of my twists are turn it into Nintendo Kart, I still want it to be Mario Kart specifically.
Yeah, it's such a weird balance.
Yeah.
Where I just completely accept that Animal Crossing is represented in it. I completely accept that like Splatoon is represented in it. But it would be weird if Samus was riding around in a cart. You know what I mean? It's like it's such a interesting balancing act.
Yeah, well, and like there is one F-Zero kart and two F-Zero tracks, but no Captain Falcon. And I'm like, thank you for no Captain Falcon. For whatever reason, like the tracks, first, I mean, whatever, give me any more tracks from anywhere and I'll be happy because like I just want more tracks. And like a cart is like a fun Easter egg, but like when it trips over into characters is where I'm like, why are we even doing this? Also, I gotta say, for as much as we talk about like characters in other games or like in Smash, I really don't care about what character I'm playing as in a Mario Kart game.
Yeah, I don't really that much either.
Like,
I mean, I have my favorites, sure. But at the end of the day, I don't really care.
If your favorite's not there, you'll just pick another one, and it won't be like, I can't play with this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, when Ness wasn't in Smash Brothers Melee, right?
It is different.
Brawl when it wasn't in Brawl.
Well, because like the move sets are so specific on different, characters in Brawl, whereas all the carts basically, like
everyone goes. No matter everyone goes.
Everybody goes. Yep. Same button. The buttons do the same thing for everybody.
But so okay, so back to your specific.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like hyper focused on like Mario platformers, right? And sure, you want to do a level on like Mario Paint, I'm into it. But it is very. I mean, I think something that's very fun about Mario Kart is you get, like Wario's pinball or whatever it is,
Yeah, Waluigi pinball, right? Yeah, or like the Wario like dirt bike arena.
Yeah, and you're like, what does this have to do with anything? It doesn't, but I think it could be an interesting twist to have it be hyper specific.
Yeah, well, and then like it leaves sort of like the room to celebrate in a Smash Brothers way the rest of the Mario canon, right? That like trophies or like even cup names could be like a little bit deeper references to Mario stuff instead of just like Mushroom Star, flower, like that sort of thing. You can go a little deeper. You can have a bell cup, just that kind of thing. Like explore Mario more specifically.
Yeah, I think that could be fun.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that a lot. My next twist. I'm calling Mario Rockets. So instead of carts, they're riding rockets, which means there's always like a flying component, right? You don't just have to worry about left, right, backwards, and forwards, but also up and down is always in play. And still, like, could it be in space? Sure, I guess it could be. But I'm still thinking it would be fun to do these, especially like if they're riding a rocket.
Yeah, like Wile E. Coyote.
You like Wile E. Coyote or like Donkey Kong in those like rocket bucket levels of Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze. If they're still doing it like on the surface or like underground or, like dodging between buildings and, like Peach's Castle or whatever. Yeah, I just something to add the one other layer of dimensionality to it. I think could really be fun.
That could be really fun. I'm just imagining like 200cc, that stuff like flying at you so quickly, and you have to like adding that extra dimension of stress.
Yes,
I feel like it would be stressful, but could be very fun. It definitely amp up the chaos.
One thing that it would kind of do away with is, would we even need the Lakitu anymore? Because if you're flying, you'd never need to be fished out of a pit.
I think you're right. Like Lakitu would become the Mr. Rossetti of Mario Kart.
Wow.
He wouldn't have anything to do.
That's tough. He would go over into Animal Crossing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Lakitu would always be there with his camera, right?
True.
And he would be able to start the race.
Yeah, always starting the race as well. Okay, and Lakitu is also one of the racers, right?
I don't think so. Have you ever been able to race as Lakitu?
I don't know.
Again,
I don't care about what characters I play.
I think the answer is I think the answer is no.
Okay, all right. But yeah, I just want to fly around on rockets. And if that means that the carts themselves are a little more dangerous, and like if you run into walls that you blow up or whatever, like I think that's great.
Yeah, if anything, you're going to be employing more Lakitus because they've got to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, okay, but
characters. I'm not talking about the rockets.
No.
Those will be blown to literally smithereens.
To smithereens, right. They are meant to explode. But
you're picking up
the
toad
rider,
arms. Yeah.
That is dark.
It was your idea.
I know, but I like it.
Well, speaking of toad arms, my third twist is Oops All Toads edition.
Oh, this is great.
Of Mario Kart.
This is so good.
So the reveal trailer starts with like Shigeru Miyamoto coming out very somber, and he's just like, I want to apologize. We tried everything we could.
I've just come back from the factory.
We tried everything we could for this not to be the case. But for some reason, we were working on Mario Kart 9, and every available racer is Toad, and every track is Toad themed. And no matter what we do,
that's funny.
We can't
do anything about it.
And so we're just releasing it. Sorry. We're apologizing in advance.
Can you imagine the cacophony that 12 toads on a race course make as they're shouting at each other.
Unbearable.
It is pure torture.
And again, Shigeru Miyamoto is there, and he's like,
hat in hand.
We created the ability for you to mix down the sounds. Unfortunately, every track, music, card effects, other sound effects,
it's all done in Toad voice.
It's all Toad voices. So no matter what,
all the music is a cappella arrangements of a bunch of toads singing together.
And we don't know how it's possible. Again, we apologize so deeply. We don't know how it's possible. But somehow, when you play this game, it stops you from being able to mute your TV. You can break your speakers, but somehow this game, it's so broken.
It will Bluetooth connect to any other speaker in your house.
Yeah. The sound is so strong.
That's
you
anything.
Will feel the vibrations.
We're talking about like speakers in your microwave. We're talking about the speakers in your phone, like every speaker.
We are begging you, if you have a person in your home with hearing aids, do not buy this game.
Do not buy this game. Yeah, this is a nightmare, but I love it. It can also be like part of the game itself where like the character select screen has like everyone on it,
and it still says like Mario. It still says Luigi.
Right, but it's just like you get a toad.
You get a toad.
Everyone's a toad. And maybe like when you win, or like during the ceremony at the end when they're all like taking their place, we can see that like Mario and Luigi are like tied up in a sack like behind the bleachers or something, because the toads have taken over Mario Kart.
When I was doing the deep research that I did to come up with this twist, the Mario Wiki says that Toad, like the character that we know, they have the first appearance of that character listed as Super Mario Brothers 2 USA, which I think is really interesting.
Implying that the Toad that we meet in Super Mario Brothers, who says that our princess is in another castle,
is not the Toad.
Toad. That makes sense because there are multiples of them.
I know it does make sense, but I really had to like think about it and I digest that.
Right, you really had to like check in with yourself and with your God, and make sure that was okay with you. Is it okay with you?
I'm learning to live with it.
Okay.
But anyways, Oops All Toad edition. That's my twist for the next Mario Kart.
We've pitched a lot of awful ideas over the course of this show. And this is not one of them, Mark. This is a slam dunk. I think it's very good. Perhaps inspired, like, this is a related idea. Related in that it would also involve a lot of toads. I want to see Super Mario Kart RPG. Remember we were talking about like a career mode before, a sort of like story mode, career mode, whatever, that makes you like redo races multiple times as your character like levels up and grows, and all those kinds of things, so that like you'll do a race and like you'll be obviously outclassed, and you'll have to go and like do other races to get like faster wheels or better handling or whatever, and then you can go back and challenge those races again and have a better time of beating them, and also maybe like more effective items or weapons or whatever to get through it. But also I want to lean into all the Super Mario RPG series, so I want to get characters from Super Mario RPG, obviously Mallow and Gino, but also from the Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi games. I want to have Bombette. I want to have Cooper in there. I want to have Fawful. Like, I want a Mario Kart game that really celebrates the Mario RPG characters and worlds.
Yeah, that's such a fun idea. There's so much in there that I really like. I really like the idea of this almost like story mode.
Yeah,
almost that. When the latest Mario Golf game was announced, it had those RPG elements that people remember really liking from the like GBA version of Mario Golf and all that kind of stuff, because it was a sports game that had those RPG like level up elements, and that's how you like improved and got better through the story mode. That's such a fun idea to bring into Mario Kart,
into kart racing,
because I really enjoy playing Mario Kart with friends. I really enjoy playing Mario Kart by myself. Like, I think it's just a fun, almost like zone out therapeutic thing to do, and having like I challenge myself to get better times and to.
But you have to
get,
make
like,
your
the
own
cups and
fun,
everything.
right?
Yeah, which not that hard because Mario Kart's a great game.
Yeah.
But having like a specific like story mode, I think that's such a fun idea.
Yeah. One also like it just opens up the door for you were mentioning a Mario Kart to actually celebrate Mario history. Mario RPG history is just like another offshoot of that, which is no less rich, right? Like there are so many characters and locations that should really be featured in these things that just aren't.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, that would be so much fun. We're playing through Paper Mario right now, and just having some of those characters who they don't show up anywhere else. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like they
Right.
don't have that opportunity to have the spotlight in some of these games. That would be so much fun. I would love that.
But like, I mean, just imagine if like, and also I don't want to play as a me. Okay, like it's like a story with characters in
Yeah.
it, right? So like, and maybe it's multiple characters, so like you can choose who's going in what race based on their abilities. But like, imagine that you have like a Mario that you have to do like some kind of race, and then he gets like a hammer, and he can use the hammer once per track or something, and then you level up the hammer, and he can use it twice on a given track. Just really like play into the like adventure of it, the RPG of it, while still racing around fun tracks.
It would also be funny if Gino didn't make it into Smash Brothers,
But he did make
but
it
does
into
make it into this Mario Kart.
yeah, yep. So I'd like to see that. I never will. I will never see this.
My next twist is that I think it would be fun to see Double Dash return. The Double Dash mechanic of two characters on one cart. I think it is time for it to get another chance. I am on the record as a Double Dash naysayer. It's probably, other than the Game Boy Advance one, which I did not enjoy, it is probably my least favorite Mario Kart in my head. In my head, I remember it being like very like slow compared to Mario Kart 64, which sounds insane to say. But
Well, so I just want to hop in and make sure that we're not just talking about like Double Dash HD, right? You're talking about like the mechanics. Of Double Dash?
that's
Okay.
the mechanics of having two characters on a single cart, having that like co-op capability, all that kind of stuff. When we were running through the twists for each Mario Kart game, they've retained the twist from previous games. Like it just keeps building,
Right,
with
with
the
the
exception
right.
of Double Dash. And I think it's time to give it another try.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think there is like a real they do like the team races if you want to try and like approximate co-op, but like there is no real co-op in Mario Kart except for Double Dash, and I didn't crack it in any of my twists, but maybe just going back to the Double Dash like mechanic like makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
and I think things would have to change. Again, I have not played Double Dash for a very long time, but like if you're just the player sitting on the back,
Mhm.
you don't really have a whole lot to do. Like, yes, you're the one that's controlling the items, but it's not really like
Well, and
enough.
you're leaning to like help
Yeah,
the drifting, but
it's
like
just
that's
like
yeah.
you really feel like the passenger, and I think that is one of the like limiting factors of it. Is it's not necessarily a very rewarding co-op experience.
What
but I
if
think
there
the
was
idea is
more?
there.
What if there was more like cart maintenance that needed to be done? That like
Yes, you're like R2
yeah,
in the back of the
you're
X-wing
like
and like
repairing things and like doing little like I want to see like the overcookedification of Mario Kart, where like the cart is falling apart faster than you can put it back together. So like you're gonna be going into like a tough turn, and so the person like driving the cart is like screaming at you to like I need to be able to turn sharp or right, and you're like I can't. This thing's over here.
that
you
would
know?
be that I like that idea a lot, especially if like each character had a specialty.
Yeah.
And so you do need to switch who's driving because
Yes.
you can't drive and repair at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not the brakes person. So let's like switch. So I'll drive while you fix the brakes.
Yeah.
And then we can switch back.
Well, I think that's one of the things that made the Double Dash gimmick feel like hollow to me, right? Is that like it means one thing if you're playing co-op, but like if you're just playing it by yourself, like it doesn't really matter. It's basically the same experience. but like making the necessity for co-op like a cornerstone of like this new Double Dash that we're envisioning is even more fun. Like, you know, I mentioned Overcooked, but something like Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time or like just any other kind of thing like that where like you truly need both people to be controlling the cart would be super fun.
That would be really fun.
Is there a world where you can be like 4 people are controlling one cart? Like,
well, I'm imagining your like rocket game, where there's an extra dimension,
like a mission control,
exact, and it's like it's almost like the Millennium Falcon ride at Disneyland, where one person's controlling left and right, and another person's controlling like up and down, and so each person, you know, like has to be controlling a direction.
Yeah, and then there are 2 people who are engineers. It's like, what is that? What you want to do is you want to be the pilot that gets to pull the hyperdrive.
That's what you
switch.
want to
That's
do,
the best
for sure.
One. Is that left pilot or right pilot?
That's the right pilot.
It's right pilot?
Mm-hmm.
It's the best seat. It's the best seat in the thing. That's great, Mark. I also like if there are tracks that were in Double Dash that haven't like made a return to any of like the classic samplings. I think now would also be the time to bring them back. Like,
totally.
Really just celebrate the ideas of Double Dash along with a lot of the characters that haven't been brought back, like Birdo, for example. That would be a good time to bring all that back. And you could even call it Double Dash 2. I think that would be fine. I think people would be excited. My 5th idea, and not my final idea because I have one more because I came prepared. An open world Mario Kart. It's an entire unbroken world that you are driving around. There are races, but you have to find them and summon the Lakitu, and at which point, like, you know, other race carts like come in and then like you go along like the sort of laid out track. But it's, you know, it's not like Diddy Kong Racing in that there's an overworld and you find like little alcoves that then like lead to tracks. The tracks are just, you know, you will have traversed a lot of the same areas that you're going to be racing in by the time you get to a race there.
It's like almost like Burnout Paradise,
kind of. Yeah,
that's interesting. I think that could be really cool, especially because, you know, when we're talking open world, I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be like one singular open world. Like you said, have different biomes.
Yeah, could
you know that you're going to. Also, when you were first describing it, it made me think of like Death Race 2000, but Mario Kart, where you're like, you know, it's just one long race across the Mushroom Kingdom.
That would also be cool if it was Mario Kart coast to coast and you just had to pick up on the east coast of the Mushroom Kingdom and drive all the way to the west. Like that would be cool too.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. I'd be interested to see what a open world take on the Mario Kart universe looks like, right? Because one of the things that is really fun about Mario Kart is the diversity in the levels, where, you know, you're going all over the place,
right? And
putting that into like a single, like it's like, oh, there's Mount Wario in the distance. I want to go.
You see that Mount Wario over there? You can drive to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does sort of like, how do you get up to a Rainbow Road? You know, how do you?
But you could drive to the SpaceX Center. You know,
sure. There you go.
There
are ways around it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But yeah, I just like in my mind, like always autocorrects as I'm thinking about this to like Mario Kart driving around Breath of the Wild Hyrule. Which, like, that's the scale I want. And maybe not, like, the aesthetic that I want necessarily, but also, like, I don't know, that'd be cool.
That would be fun. You have, like, a map of the Mushroom Kingdom or wherever you are.
Yeah.
And there's, like, unknown territories.
Yes.
That you're like, how do I get there, and what is there, and once I get there, what is going to be like the race. That is fun.
And like you're collecting the things that like you put together that then like summon the Lakitu and start the race, you know. And maybe like as you win a race, it like knocks down a tree that becomes a bridge, or, you know, whatever, all these kinds of things to just like access more of the open world.
That sounds really fun. Before I go to my 5th twist, this is just something that I was...
5th twist.
Something I was thinking of when you were talking about the RPG part of it is, I don't know if it would be fun or not, but I would be interested in trying a mode that had like 99 racers in it.
Okay.
Like
Mario Kart 99.
Yeah, like a really just kind of like chaotic, massive amount of people.
That's funny. Is it like still elimination style that like half of the racers get eliminated each lap or something?
Yeah, that could be fun.
How many laps do you have to do to win then? I'm not about to do that math. 50 and then 25 and then 12 and then 6, then 3, and I guess just that one more lap would
so like
it's only six laps.
Not
it's
too
only a
crazy.
double race. Yeah, that's not that bad. That's fun. I like Mario Kart 99.
I'm just imagining like how chaotic, all the shells flying everywhere, the amount of lightnings and the amount of like bullet bills that are flying through there, just like mowing people to the side.
I mean, you would also just get to a point where the entire track is covered with banana peels.
That's right. All the bombs being thrown. The amount of blue shells. It would take a minor amount of balancing, I think, to make it work.
It would. Well, and you would just know that. I mean, surviving through the first lap would just be luck. It would just be luck, right?
It would. Yeah, that's true. There would be no strategy. No strategy would work. Okay, finally, my final twist for Mario Kart 9 is that there is no twist.
Whoa!
That Dr. Sirkin Toto of Kantan Games is not correct.
Yeah.
Whether in their speculation or misinformed in their from whatever sources they have, that Mario Kart 9 not necessarily anything crazy or new.
Let me ask you this. If they put out Mario Kart 9 and it is just Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but all the tracks are different, some of the characters are different, is that enough?
For me, it's enough.
Yeah.
Because I just want new tracks.
Yeah, me too. Like if they just release it as like DLC to the existing game and it was another $60, like I'm there. I would absolutely buy it.
Now, I don't actually, for the record, I do not believe that this is true, but I do think we should probably lower our expectations for like what the twist.
You don't think it's going to be Super Mario Kart RPG?
I pray every night.
You don't think Mario Rockets stands a chance?
But just looking at the history of Mario Kart,
right?
There's not really like earth-shattering developments.
Yes.
And so, I think, but I would love for there to be something crazy.
Yeah, I would also love to.
Crazy Nintendo is probably my favorite Nintendo.
Yeah, well, and like in trying to come up with these things, it's like impossible, right? Because if it's either a twist that's going to be so mild that you're like, oh, okay, now they have skis on them so that when they're in the snow they can be on skis, and like, okay, that's it. Or it can be something so revolutionary as to not even really be conceivable at the moment, right? There was a minute here where I was like, maybe it's a Mario Kart VR and it launches like Nintendo's VR initiative, or something, because like there's no like getting ahead of it, right? Who could have predicted the twist of Mario Odyssey before we saw it?
Right.
Like it was just a 0% likelihood that you would have guessed, oh, you possess enemies with your cap. Like,
which is alive.
Yes, that's right. His name is Cappy. He's a hat spirit or something. So yeah, it's funny how like futile this is, and that any guess you make is going to be like both underguessing and overguessing at the same time. My final submission for but actually before we get to that, I want to ask what you think the likelihood of there being just like more Nintendo characters or like the Smashification.
Yeah, it's really hard because
I
know I definitely think that there is going to be, because of in the history of Mario Kart, as we've seen, there is always something new. So I for sure believe the next Mario Kart game is going to introduce something new.
Yeah.
To the but I don't think it's just going to be more Nintendo characters.
Yeah.
I think it will be like a gameplay
feels a little
mechanic.
Stale,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, like we're not going to see Fire Emblem characters in the next Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
Going on record here. Maybe Kirby will be there.
Maybe Kirby will be there. Maybe more Donkey Kong characters.
Right.
I mean, really, Fire Emblem should get its own kart racing game.
Yes, Fire Emblem karting, 100%. Everyone has a sword. It's perfect. Actually, if you were doing a Fire Emblem like arcade style like racing game, everyone should be riding Pegasuses through the sky.
Yes.
That'd be so dope.
That'd be so cool.
Pegasuses and dragons and stuff. Man, it'd be cool. Wyverns. Yeah. Mark, my final, and this is like my alt pitch, so I don't know if it's as strong, but it is weird. And kind of going back to that Mario Odyssey possessing ideas. This is Ghost Mario's Haunted Racers. So you play as a Boo who is haunting a racetrack, and you have a mission at the beginning of every race to have like certain outcomes come true. So like Mario has to win this one, or like Luigi has to come in third or something.
I love this so much because this is like Angels in the Outfield Mario Kart edition.
But you're possessing them, so like you're jumping around, and like you can only you start possessing one of the characters, and then like you have to get close to the other one to like jump. And so like you have to sort of deal with the fact that the different racers have different attributes. And so like all this kind of stuff, and like all kind of based on the Ghostbusters 2 idea that ghosts' powers are affected by the emotions of people. So like you'll be in a place that's like Toad Stadium, and you're like, okay, the Toad needs to win, so everyone gets excited, and you can harvest all this emotional energy.
Oh man, that is a fun idea. That's like kind of like the Mario Kart Manager, where that's a fun twist on like the Mario Kart formula. There are outcomes that you have to make happen by possessing different racers. That's really funny. That's a really good idea. That would be very interesting.
It's a little bit Mario Kart Geist, that GameCube game that we like to bring up from time to time. But you know, why not?
It's also a little like Ghost Trick.
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit like that. This is a bad idea, but what if the story is that you're a ghost and you're in with like for like 300,000 large with the ghost mob, and so you're betting on these races, and then you have to affect the outcomes so that way you are winning, so you can use your winnings to pay off your mob debt.
I mean, that's worth it alone for like a Boo Mafia and like a Boo Godfather. Like that's so good. I want to see some Italian stereotype ghosts
that aren't dead Mario or dead Luigi.
Yeah, that's right. They shouldn't be dead Mario and they shouldn't be dead Luigi. I know I said Ghost Mario racers as part of my pitch, but maybe it's better if they are like not even Boos either, but sort of like Luigi's Mansion style ghosts. And then we can put Professor Egad in there. Another favorite for us, the Polterpup, of course. The possibilities are endless here. I just want to possess some racers as a ghost. All right, Mark. I think that is the end of our twists. Those are all of my twists. Let's close this out. If any of you, our listeners, has a fun twist that you want to share with us, you can always email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com or tweet at us or whatever. This has been a fun exercise for me. I assume, Mark, you had a good time doing this as well. So think about it. You can have fun thinking about this. It's a good time. A good time. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and follow us on Apple Podcasts. You can give us a rating on Spotify if you like. It helps us out tremendously when you do that. If you can share the episode on Facebook or Twitter, wherever you share stuff, we appreciate that too. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nin Cart Society. We also have a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying let's just put skis on the carts so they can go faster in snow. Thank you for listening.
Oscar, Rachel, do you like Disney movies?
Yeah!
Have you seen all of them?
Yeah, we saw all the Disney animated movies.
And we saw all the Pixar animated movies, too.
How about the DComs?
What?
the Disney Channel original movies. You should listen to our podcast, Inside the Disney Vault, because we are watching all of them in chronological order.
Yeah, and we do fun segments like we cast each other.
That's right, and my favorite segment, Zaddy Watch, where we rank every single DCOM daddy.
Ooh, you can listen to all this fun stuff on our podcast, Inside the Disney Vault on Campfire Media, wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, guys, let's get back in the vault. It's cold out here.
Ooh.
Campfire.